Welcome to this workshop, how to get twice as much done in your day. And in this workshop, what I'm wanting to do is just take you through the process and get you to learn and understand what the skills are that you need to learn and develop for you to be able to get your whole day under control and be able to get things done. And where we need to start in doing this is we need to just sit down and look at where you're at now and your past 12 months. And I just want to take you through a series of questions that I normally take my clients through at the end of each year, or at the end of November. I send them out this sheet called Forward Focus Reflection Sheet, and they then have to work through the questions, which leads us into starting to do the planning for their new year. Now, just to run through the questions, and you might want to write these down and you might just want to answer them yourself. But how did your last 12 months go? Did they go the way you wanted and expected them to? Did you achieve everything that you wanted to achieve over the last 12 months? Did you have some specific goals and action plans in place to actually be able to focus on achieving? Or did you just have some ideas and things in your head that you were trying to work to get towards it? What prevented you from achieving these goals? What stopped you from being able to work on them and actually make them come to fruition? Are these just excuses? Because that we do see from a lot of people is all these different things they'll tell us, and in reality they're just excuses for not being focused and determined enough to do them. But also, there's also the fact that it could be a lack of knowledge and skill on how do you control your day. And that's what prevents a lot of people from being able to achieve the things they want to achieve when they get into their business, or they might have a senior management role in an organisation or something like that. And the problem is they don't have all the skills. They're not aware of the key skills that you need to be able to get your day under control. If you had to achieve them, the goals that you were looking at achieving over the last year, what would that achievement of these goals meant to you? How would you feel? Where would you be now? So where do you want to go? Where do you see yourself at in 12 months' time? Do you have any plans already in place? Or are you now just starting to think about where you'd like to be in 12 months' time? If you think and look at those things that you'd like to achieve over the next 12 months. But my question is, what's holding you back? What will prevent you from achieving these goals going forward? What's got the chains on you? Hopefully you've got a few answers to those questions. And as I say, one of the big things I see is that mostly people struggle to get things done in their business and managing their role because they simply don't have the actual skills. They're not aware of the skills they need to be able to get their day under control. So without being aware of them, you can't even develop them. And there are some key skills for that. Now, myself, I'm Peter Johnson. My clients gave me the title The Time Retriever. And they did that many years ago, just on the basis that what I was teaching them helped them get their time back. And the name of our business, Time Retrievers, actually came from one of our clients. Way back, probably, it's 13 years we've been going now, so 11 years ago, they gave us the name of the business to use. Over the last 35 years, I've had management experience in senior and roles in corporate entities and as well as small entities. I've had my own small businesses as well. I actually had my first registered business at 18. That was an office equipment business that I'd had a partner come in on. And that was one of my original jobs, was as an office equipment mechanic. I did a trade in the office equipment mechanics. And then over the years, I've had these management and business ownership roles at national, state and local level. I've been involved in managing teams in city locations, in country and remote locations, even as remote as in the jungle, literally up in PNG, where we had guys out servicing equipment. And my background has been in sales and service, call centres, dealer networks, disability services. So I've seen an array of types of businesses. And we've been based in areas. So we originally came from Wagga in New South Wales. We went to PNG and then Queensland and back to New South Wales, down to Victoria. And we, 5 years ago, established ourselves here on the Sunshine Coast in Queensland. And over that time, we've also had involvement in community and service clubs, in Rotary and coaching football teams and leading scout groups and cub packs and that as well. So we've just over the many years created a very broad range of experience that's generated a lot of skills. Over the last 13 years, I've been coaching as a business productivity coach. And we've worked with over 158 businesses in this time. And bear in mind that some of the businesses we started coaching, we're still coaching now. Most of our clients had stayed with us for generally between 4 and 7 years. And that was involved in one-to-one coaching and group coaching. I've also done a lot of workshop presenting and quite an amount of event speaking engagements as well. So I've spent plenty of time talking to thousands of people on this particular subject. How do you get control of your day and actually get the things that you want to do done? But I go back to when I was originally on the road as an office equipment technician. I could always manage my time. I was always good at managing it. And I'm one of those people that, I don't get to a meeting 10 minutes late. I get to a meeting always 10 or more minutes before the meeting. And so I'm always on time. I will not let myself be late for people unless there's a specific circumstance. But that's just one part of time management. The other part of time management we're talking about here is about getting things done, about achieving things that you want to achieve in your life. And when I started on the road as an office equipment technician, I could plan out my days and they would run to schedule. The only thing that would affect it would be if I couldn't fix a piece of equipment and I had to decide whether to put it in the car and bring it back to the workshop or stay and fix it and complete the rest of the jobs the next day. Even when I was supervising team members, I originally started with supervising 2 and then up to 17 team members in a number of locations. I always still was able to plan and control my day, coordinate, organise the work that they were getting done and getting my own work done as well and fixing equipment. I didn't have a problem. And then I moved into a role where I was managing just over 100 people and also had the interacting with the head office staff, sales, national sales team, warehousing, accounts, all those personnel. And my days literally fell apart. I couldn't get a thing done. And for me, that's very frustrating, and I'd expect it's probably frustrating for you when you can't get things done. But my days fell apart. I'd gone from having full control, having my plan and being able to do it, to now having an office door that was a revolving door, and some of you know what I mean by that, where there was a head and a face in there every couple of minutes. And that's what occurred to me. I obviously thought I was good at time management, but obviously there were skills I didn't have, skills I didn't know about that I needed to do something with. I went and did a time management workshop, and all it did was taught me what I already knew. And I've done plenty of those workshops, time management workshops since, and I've reviewed a lot, and they all do the same thing. They get you to the point where you've got your to-do list there to do today. But the problem is they don't give you any skills on actually how to get it done. So when I worked out that obviously that workshop I did didn't help, I then had to embark on a journey of learning in which, one, I wanted to build my business skills anyway, and two, I wanted to build those time management skills. So I very quickly started to get the time management skills in place that I needed to start to get control of my day again. And then over the following 30 odd years, I spent a lot of time constantly developing my knowledge and skills in business and time management. And I still do it today. To me, the day you stop learning and stop trying to learn the things that you really want to be good at and do is the day they probably need to be, should you say, putting you into the ground. That's the day it stops. Until then, you've got to be at it all the time. My personal library at home at the moment is in boxes because we're moving soon. But when it's out, is well over. It's between 1,000 and 2,000 books in the shelves, plus a lot of video and audio training systems and shelves that I can use to develop my skills, along with many different training courses and that. But I still use those today. I still go back and reference them for my coaching with clients, or if I wanted to develop a new time tip or in developing this program, I still go back to all that material and reference it. That's what it's there for. So I started coaching in 2006. Prior to that, I'd been coaching some of my old friends from where we'd worked together, ex-colleagues that had gone out in the business, and I'd been coaching them in a sense in their business and that. And that's where some friends said, you should be a coach and go into this coaching process. And that's what I did in the middle of 2006. I started coaching. And the thing that I found over the next 12, 18 months, 2 years, I found that most business owners had the same problem that I had many years prior. They had their plans, but they could not get anything done. They had the problem where they knew what they needed to do, but their day was just putting out fires and was so busy and that they couldn't get it done. So what I did, I turned around and went back through all of the material that I had, and I looked at what were the key skills that I had to develop to actually be able to take control of my day. And then as I pulled them together and started to put them into a big notebook, I started to recognise that there were 4 key areas that you and I needed to develop skills in to be able to get our day under control. And I then called those the 4 inescapable components of controlling your day. Because without the skills in each of these components, you will always struggle to be in control of your day. And those 4 components is 1, planning, being able to create a plan of what you want to do. 2 is time management. Yes, time management is just a part of this process, but it's being able to then plan and manage your time. The 3rd inescapable component is your self-discipline skills. Your skills to be able to stop you from putting things off. And the 4th inescapable component is your people management and your leadership skills. The skills you need to manage and lead people with. Now, when we looked at the planning, most reasons why people struggle to get things done is because there's a lack of proper planning. They don't sit down and actually develop a plan. And the reality is, if you want to achieve some big things in your life, you need a plan on how you're going to do it. Because without the plan, it's impossible to achieve good time management. Good time management is based around you knowing what you want to achieve and what you have to do to achieve it. That's how you start. That's the starting process for getting good at managing your time. But what do I get feedback? People say to me, I don't have time to plan. Well, my answer is, you don't have time to plan because you don't plan. If you have a look at all those successful people around the world, and even people close to you that have had success at things, it could be business, it could be athletes, it could be community workers, anything. And if you actually spent some time with them, you would see that one thing they do is they set their targets. They have a clear picture of what they want to achieve, and then they build their goals and their action plans on how they're going to achieve it around that clear picture. That's how they get there. And you never hear them say, oh, I don't have time to plan. Oh, no, I'll have to do it tomorrow. You don't hear those words from them. If they've decided to do it, they just get in and do it. Because successful people don't have time and then plan. They have time because they plan. It's something that you do. You decide to do something, you immediately plan it, and then you fit it into your time frames. The plan comes before time, and then you can start to get on top of it. And in the planning process, it's about understanding our why. Why do I do what I do? Because if you can understand why you do what you do, then that's your real driver. That's what makes you do it. From there, you can develop the vision of what you want to achieve, the goals, then set the goals for the next 12 months. And then we can focus on what the 3 most important goals over the next 12 months. And we focus on 3 because most people can't focus on any more. I've done time management workshops where they have you focus on all these different areas of your life and say you've got to have 3 goals in each. And you end up with 21 goals. I've yet to meet a person that can focus on 21 goals, and I know I can't. And what I've found over the years is if we get people to focus on 3 key goals, the most important ones over the next 12 months, if they achieve those 3 goals, they achieve pretty well every other goal on the list as well, because they're all steps on the way when you start to plan them out. And then we create our action plan, our quarterly action plan, what we're going to do over the next quarter to actually achieve what we want to achieve. And that becomes fairly fixed. With an quarterly action plan, you don't chop and change. You do that plan for a quarter. Because what a lot of people do is they change after a couple of weeks. They see something new and they start to do something else. And then a couple of weeks later, they do the same again, and they never give anything a chance to work. I know one of the coaches whose material I read, he says you have one focus on the way you market and you stick to that for 12 months. And if you go away from it, he won't work with you. Because he says if you stick with that for 12 months, you work on and make it work, you become very successful. Then we got the time management side of things. It's about planning our week and learning and understand how to plan a week and how to plan our day. And that's taking your quarterly action plan. And then out of that action plan, the activities for next week that are in that plan, we pull them off the plan and we now plan them into the next week. And we run our week on a default basis. We set up over time, we set it up so there's a specific method how we operate our week that allows us to stay in control of our week. And that's the feedback we get from many clients is how in control they are of their week now, even when they get halfway through. And then we take that weekly planning and each day we're able to create a workable plan that has a chance of succeeding each day. And yes, that comes back to your to-do list each day in which you can achieve it. And then we've got the time management side of it sorted, and then we go into those self-discipline skills. We've got our to-do list, we've now got to get that done. But what do? We say, oh, no, I'll do that later. I'll get these done now. We start to procrastinate and we put things off. And you know that procrastination is the only thing that's going to lead you to failing in whatever you want to achieve in your life. And I stop at that point when I'm speaking at events and workshops or anywhere, because I wait for the challenge to come, because plenty of people will come back and say, well, no, that's not right, because what about the times when someone else was supposed to do their bit and they didn't do it? How can I do mine? Or what about the times something happens to me or something gets done or whatever? And I turn around and say, well, what you've got to look at is the fact that things happen in life, and unfortunately good and bad. And they happen to us at times. But the reality is, under those scenarios, you know what the situation is. And you can now step back and say to yourself, well, that's what's happened, or they didn't do their bit. How am I now going to get on and do what I've got to do? And then you work it out how you've got to get it done. It might be harder to do. It might take longer to do, all those sorts of things. But the reality is you can take back control and do it. But the minute you decide, no, I'll do that later or I'll do it tomorrow, you're the one that has just decided to fail in your future. So you've got to make sure that you stay on top. And you notice the things that you put off each day, they're generally the things that are important. They're generally the things that you said, oh, I've got to really get that done. But all of a sudden it's going to take too long. So I don't have time to do it right now. I'll have to do it later. If it's going to take too long to do, you've got to break it down into smaller chunks and do it. Or it's difficult. Something's hard to do. Well, if things are hard to do, that's what life is sometimes. All you got to do is turn around and say, well, I've got to get on and do it. And you've got to sort out how, when, and the timing on when you're going to do it, and just get on to it. We put off things we don't like doing. You know, just because you don't like doing it doesn't mean it's a good reason for not doing it. If that's what you've got to do to achieve, you've got to go and do it. You put off difficult conversations. Oh, I hate having these conversations with people. And you decide to do it tonight or tomorrow. And all the time you're putting these things off, and it sits in the back of your mind and it weighs you down until it happens. And it means you are far less focused and far less productive. Even decisions that involve money. Without a good financial plan, you start to guess and 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 second guess yourself on whether or not to spend money or not. With a good plan, you can make your decisions quicker and easier. There's a secret here. Every person in the world has all these same things. Don't like doing it, it's difficult, oh, it takes too long, I don't want to do it now. Even the people that are successful, they all think the same. But the only difference is they turn around and say, but I've got to do it, so I'll go and do it, and that's it. Whereas others turn around and say, oh, I don't want to do it now. I'm too tired, or whatever. But you just got to get in and do it. But you've got to learn some skills on how to get yourself doing it. So we look at that's self-discipline. How we stop ourselves from putting things off. What about the distractions in your day? Tell me, what distracts you each day? And distractions aren't the people things. They're not where people come in your door. Distractions are the things that allow your mind to keep wandering. You know, things like email, telephone, SMS, push notices, the new apps you want to go and have a look at, or there's a new marketing idea I want to try, or some new toys. Oh, we're out of milk. I'll duck down and get the milk whilst the other guys, I won't interrupt them. Or I want to go and research something. There's a lot of things that distract you, and some of these things you need to do. And quite honestly, some of the things I enjoy doing. But the key is you need to be able to establish a methodology of how you handle your distractions, so as they don't take you away from focusing on the things that you really need to get done today. And we've also got our communication skills in the self-discipline area. They also come into the people skills area. It's about how well we communicate with people so as we can get our message across the first time. And then in the people skills and the leadership skills that you need, being able to reduce the interruptions in your day. You know, that's constant, where people coming and seeking permission to do this, or need answers to that, or they got this problem. You've got to be able to understand the ways to be able to start to reduce that happening in your day. Do you know, it's about understanding what interrupts your day. One of the things I did years back when my days first started to fall apart, I created this tool that I call the Interruption Buster tool and the Distraction Buster tool. All I did was just simply, I started to note down everything that distracted and interrupted me in my days, and why and when. And I was able to then focus on starting to reduce those distractions and those interruptions. You've got to implement some key strategies when it comes to interruptions. You've got to learn to say no sometimes. There's things when you turn around and say yes to that you shouldn't. And you've got to know when to say no. You can't be a zookeeper. You can't just simply have everyone coming to you all the time. You've got to develop some skills and some processes to be able to start to reduce the amount of times they come to you with all their issues. Have you ever had someone come to you for something and you turn around and say to yourself, well, why do they come to me for that? You ever said that? Surely they should have already known it. Well, let's make sure they don't come to you anymore when it's those situations. The VAC, communication tools and people's behavioural styles. It's about learning those, how people learn, how to communicate with people and how people behave. It's about understanding these three key areas so you can communicate with people and get your message across the first time. You know, and it's like someone comes to you and they turn around and they say, I didn't understand what you said. Can you tell me it all again? And then you tell them all again. And then they come back tomorrow and say, I still don't get it. Or you tell them exactly what you want them to do. And you go out and they're doing something totally different. It's totally messed up and it's now going to take a lot of time to fix. Your communication needs to be developed so as that doesn't happen. And the reality is it's normally with the person who's giving the instructions, who's doing the communicating. That's where the problem is. Now and then you get people that won't do what they're told, but on the whole they do. It's just been miscommunicated to them. You need to be able to manage through your team. A lot of business owners manage around their team. If you've got a team of people in your business, then you've got to make sure they're doing their job properly. And I see it at times. I see managers and directors of childcare centres and other owners in businesses and they're doing some job and I say, what are you doing that for? And they say, I just give them the guys a hand. I turn around and say, well, that's their job, not yours. What could you be doing right now instead of that? And guess what you could be doing? That thing that you'd put off. There's a rule. As a business owner, as a manager in a business, you should only do the things that only you should do. And you have your team doing the rest. That's what the team's for. That's why you got them. And you've just got to remember that a business that runs well is a business that can run well with limited interaction by you. That they can get on with their job without having to come and interrupt you all day. And the better you build your skills in managing and communicating with your team, the less problems you get to deal with each day, the less interruptions you get, the more time you get to get the things you need to do done and take the business forward. It's very important. So these, there's a number of skills in each of these areas that we need to develop to be able to get our day under control. They break up into two areas: your planning and time management, your self-discipline and people management skills. The first two take up 10% of the process. Being able to create a plan your day, plan your week, all that. That's 10% of the process. The other 90% of getting things done is in these other skills. And this is where the problem with time management workshops come in that most people do nowadays. Because you go to this event 1 or 2 days and you learn all this planning and the weekly planning, the daily planning, a bit on procrastination, and you come to work the next day with your to-do list ready to do. And you sit there and then some people straight away turn around and say, I know I've got to do that one first, but I'll get these other quick ones out the road. You started to fail already. Or you come in and you're now going to get focused on that number one, getting that done. But what happens? The day happens. Your phone starts ringing, people start coming in, everything that happens in your day. You start putting out fires and doing this and this and that. And then come 5:30, you look at your to-do list and you've got very little done on it. You've got a few ticked off at the bottom. None of the important stuff. And to make it worse, you feel really tired and worn out because you've been busy all day and you can't remember what you did half the day. Have you ever been in that situation? And that's because if you did a time management workshop and I got you that, it didn't teach you the skills on actually how to get the things done. How to stop procrastination, stop yourself from putting things off, how to control those distractions and start to reduce them, how to start to reduce those interruptions from everyone so as you can get on with it. And that's the difference with what I developed. When I saw these inescapable components and I then developed my coaching program, it takes into account all of these skills. And that's what I've been coaching my clients on over the past years. And we've seen clients, I've got one that owns 3 childcare centres. She was working 7 days a week, long hours, flat out, really struggling. And after about 18 months, she was down to 4 days a week working school hours. And much healthier because she was also going to the gym. And that's by simply developing the skills in these areas. But remember I said 18 months, not 1 or 2 days. It's not possible to achieve in 1 or 2 days because you can get all that planning there but it takes time to develop all these other skills and for them to start to take effect in your day. And you've got to be able to get in and do it. And that's where we developed our plan. And the program is about planning, eliminating procrastination, reducing interruptions and distractions in your day. These are all required. You need the knowledge and skill in all of these areas so you can start to be able to change your thought patterns, your habits, and the way you believe about yourself. You need to learn how to do it. And it doesn't happen as a result of a 1 or 2 day time management course. It's impossible to be good at time management in 1 or 2 days. And even trying to learn it all in 2 days, virtually impossible. The key is, and let's not gild the lily here, you've got to work at it. You need to have that commitment. You know, turn around and say, well, I'm going to get control of this, because if I can have control and I'm achieving a lot more and getting more done, we can have more enjoyment, I can have more holidays, I can do whatever I want, then that's got to be worth it. You've got to have that commitment to say, I want to achieve this. You've got to have the courage to fly in the face of everything inside you that wants you to stay back where you are, this person that doesn't have these skills and just mumbles through the day. Because that's what happens to you. You've got to be able to push yourself out a bit further. And you've got to have the persistence to stick with it and make the changes. As I say, it's generally about that 18 months, 12 to 18 months that most people start to see a real effect. You start to see it from day one. But over the time, you start to see how that effect grows and how much more in control you get. And that's what we developed this online time management program for. I've created a complete program so as you can learn how to get the planning done, how to eliminate this procrastination, how to reduce those interruptions in your day and reduce those distractions. I've taken what we've been working with clients on and we've put it online so as anyone, anywhere can do it. All you need is access to the internet. And if you'd like to work with us a little bit more in a group or one-to-one, then that can be done as well to help you through it. But this whole program has been set up so as you can get on with it. And this program helps you start the process of holding yourself accountable for getting things done now. You can then start to do that. And you can then continually build that knowledge and skill and start to get better and better at it. Now, the program we developed is a 3-part program. It's basically 3 courses together. One is the planning and time management, in which we're going to take you through that why and that create your vision, set your goals, create the quarterly plan, learn how to plan your week and your day so as you can actually start to get things done. And then we'll take you through the second course, the second part of the program, which are the personal time management skills. Learning how to stop putting things off, learning how to reduce direct distractions in your day, and how to get your message across the first time. We start working with those skills. And as you go through the course, part 1, planning and time management, you work straight through those, each module after the other. But when you get to part 2 and part 3, these ones release 2 days apart. And the idea is you'll learn one and it gives yourself 2 days to go and work on it and then come back and learn the next one. And that's a better way of actually being able to work and develop these skills. And then in that third, people management, leadership skills, we're going to start to teach you the way and the processes and that to be able to start to reduce interruptions in your day. And develop the leadership skills. There's quite a few leadership skills that are needed for you to develop so you can manage your team and business better, that in the end it helps you manage your day better. Because the better you manage your team and develop your team, the far less interaction they need from you to get on and make your business happen. And that gives you the time back in your day. So they all come together. Now, it is a very comprehensive program. I don't think there's any time management program like this one anywhere. And I've already had people come back to me and say, wow, I didn't realise there was so much involved in actually trying to get your day under control, in actually being able to get the things done. And that's not meant to scare you off. It's just that there is some work. And you're not going to get left at the doorstep like most time management workshops do, leave you at the doorstep with a to-do list that you now can't get done and are very frustrated. We want to show you how to get the actual actions done. And it's not hard. There's nothing hard about what we're going to do here. It just takes time and working on it. That's all. Now, this program, we've developed the program for business owners. So there's a 3-part program for business owners, and there's a 3-part program for childcare centre owners and directors. We've actually created a separate one for the childcare, simply because in the childcare industry, there's a lot more government compliance and that, and it's quite bluntly, a more difficult day to work. It's a bit like aged care and nursing as well. They are very busy days. In business, it's busy, but you do not have the same amount of governance on you from the government department as what these do. So I've developed them as 2 different programs, and we've been working with childcare centres for over 7 years. So I've taken a lot of what I've learned and it's been put it into the program. And I've been in business for many years, so I've taken what I've learned from there and put it in the business owners program. Now, these programs, they're normally $199 one-off payment, or you can have a 2-month payment program, $99.50 per month, or a 3-month payment program, $66.33, to make it easier so as you can get on board and get going with it. It's a lifetime access. As long as the program's available, you'll be able to access the system. And the idea is you can come back and you can quickly go through one of the sessions, one of the lessons or that, and recap and then go out and work on it again. And on top of that, we will shortly be adding more material to the end. There's actually a certificate that comes out when you finish part 3 that is a certificate of completion for the whole program. But then I'll probably have part 4 is where I'm going to continually add material that you can access to help you grow and develop your skills in running your business. Now, along with the program, if you enroll, you'll also get a free copy of the Time Retriever book. If you haven't already got one, you'll get a free copy here. Now, the book I wrote years ago for my clients. As a new client came on board, I wrote this book and I'll give them a copy for them to read through so as they can start to learn and understand the process that we were going to go through over the next months. And then I kept building on the book, and when I caught up with a publisher, they asked to read it and they wanted it published. So it's ended up as a paperback version that you can order, or in the system you can get a free copy of the digital version. You also get access to the Ask the Time Retriever online sessions. We hold those in the first Tuesday and the third Tuesday of the month. And they're sessions where you'll get emails telling you when they're on, you register for the session, and we go for about a half an hour or so in which you get to ask questions about the things that you're learning or things you're experiencing when it comes to get control of your day and being able to manage and develop the team and the business. And everyone else, as they learn, we answer those, everyone else learns more as well. And you'll also have access to the Time Retrievers group on Facebook. Most of you are probably in groups on Facebook, and you can see where in those groups there's generally a lot of learning, a lot of questions and learning that you can get and support with each other in those groups. On top of that, if you'd like, you can talk to us about some actual group or one-to-one coaching. Group coaching I like because, again, it's the dynamic of the group that makes the program work really well, because everyone learns from everyone, and you get to see different ways people do things. So today what we're offering is a $50 discount on the program for attending the workshop, and that means it's only $149 per enrolment. Now the discount applies across not just 3, but actually there's 4 methods of payment there now. I've set up, you can pay a one-off fee, a 2 bi-monthly fee, a 3 bi-monthly or a 4 bi-monthly fee, just to help people be able to enrol. As you register for the program, you'll see a line that says I have a coupon. Click on that and just simply put in the coupon code UTMP50 to get the discount. Now, here is the two URLs linked to the programs. You can simply copy these off the screen, or you can just go to our website, timeretrievers.com.au, and you'll see under the courses tab, each of the courses, you just click on those, and then you can go through and register from there. And again, just remember, use the coupon code UTMP50 to get your discounted price. Now, if you would like to work with me to help keep you even further accountable for doing the program and working through it, or you would like me to help you with further skills in running your business or your childcare centre, just simply type in yes in the chat box and I'll follow up with you after this workshop. I am recording it, so if you are watching the recording of the workshop, just send me a message, to an email to say you'd like to talk further about the coaching program itself, accountability side of it. But as you can see, my whole aim here is I want to be able to provide this program to anyone that wants to access it and that needs some help with getting their day under control. So many people go and do these time management workshops and end up back in their office and not being able to get things done. And what I want to do is be able to take everyone through the skills that they actually need to develop, so as they can tick off things on their to-do list and get them done. That's more important. So just simply click on the links and put in the code and register. We'd look forward to seeing you in the program and working with you. And we just hope that you can start to get your days under control and actually start to achieve a lot of the bigger things that you want to achieve. Bye for now.